passengers got on and off the train at every stop. But 3 people stayed on the train going to the last station like me. One was a woman, not young and not pretty. She was smoking cigarettes. She had a thin face, wore a cap, and had clothes that looked a bit like a man's. Her friend was a man who talked a lot. He was about 40 years old. The third person was a man who stayed away from everyone. He was short, very nervous, and I couldn't tell how old he was. He had bright, interesting eyes that moved quickly from one thing to another. This man didn't talk to anyone for most of the trip. He seemed like he wanted to stay away from people. When someone spoke to him, he gave short answers and then looked out of the train window. At sunset, we stopped at a big station. The man with the nice luggage, who I later learned was a lawyer, got off the train with his friend to have some tea at a restaurant. While they were gone, some new passengers came into the train. One was a tall, old man. He had no beard and many wrinkles. He looked like a merchant. The merchant sat down across from the empty seats of the lawyer and his friend. Soon, he started talking to a young man who had just gotten on the train. At first, the young man said that the seat across from him was already taken, but the old man said he was getting off at the next stop. So they started talking. I was sitting close to them, and since the train was not moving, I could hear parts of their conversation when others were not talking. They talked about the price of goods and how business was going. They talked about a person they both knew. Then they started talking about the fair in Nizhny Novgorod. The young man bragged about knowing people who were having fun at the fair, but the old man stopped him and began talking about the fun he had at Konevino last year. The old man was very proud of these memories. He didn't think that sharing this story would make him look less serious. He proudly told how, when he was drunk, he shot a gun at Konevino. But he only told the rest of the story quietly, in the young man's ear. The young man started to laugh loudly. The old man laughed too, showing 2 long yellow teeth. Their conversation wasn't very interesting to me, so I left the train to stretch my legs. At the door, I saw the lawyer and the woman with him. "You don't have much time," the lawyer said to me. "The second bell is about to ring." I had just reached the back of the train when the bell rang. As I went back into the train, I saw the lawyer talking excitedly with his friend. The merchant, sitting across from them, was quiet. "And then she clearly told her husband," said the lawyer with a smile as I walked past them, "that she could not and would not live with him anymore because—" He kept talking, but I didn't hear the rest of the sentence. I got distracted by the conductor walking by and a new passenger getting on the train. After things got quiet again, I heard the lawyer speaking. The conversation had changed from one story to more general ideas. And after that comes fighting, money problems, arguments between the 2 people, and they end up separating. In the old days, that didn't happen often. Isn't that right? The lawyer asked the 2 merchants, trying to bring them into the conversation. Just then, the train started moving again. The old man didn't answer right away. He took off his hat, crossed himself 3 times, and whispered a prayer. When he was done, he pushed his hat down firmly on his head and said, Yes, sir, that happened in the past too, but not as much as now. These days, it happens more because people have become too educated. The lawyer said something back to the old man, but the train started going faster, and the noise from the tracks made it hard to hear. I was interested in what the old man was saying, so I moved closer. The nervous man sitting near me also seemed interested. He didn't move from his seat but listened closely. "But what's wrong with being educated?" asked the woman, smiling just a little. "Would it be better to get married like in the old days, when the bride and groom didn't even see each other before the wedding?" She kept talking, answering not what the old man had said, but what she thought he was going to say. Back then, women didn't know if they would love their husbands or if their husbands would love them. They married the first man they were told to and then were unhappy all their lives. Do you think that was better? She was talking to the lawyer and me, not the old man. People have become too educated, the old man repeated, looking at the woman with a look of disapproval, but he didn't answer her question. "I'm curious to know how you explain the connection between education and marriage problems," the lawyer said with a small smile. The merchant wanted to answer, but the woman interrupted him. "No, those days are over." The lawyer stopped her and said, "Let him say what he wants to say." "Because there is no more fear," the old man answered. "But how can you make people marry if they don't love each other? Only animals can be paired together by their owner. People have feelings and love," the lady said quickly, looking at the lawyer, me, and even the clerk. The clerk was standing and resting his elbow on the back of a seat, smiling as he listened to the conversation. "You are wrong to say that, madam," said the old man. "Animals are beasts, but people have been given rules to follow. But still, how can you live with a man when there is no love?" the lady said, getting more excited because everyone was paying attention to her. "In the old days, people didn't make these differences," the old man said seriously. "Now it's become a habit. As soon as something small happens, the wife says, 'I'm leaving. I'm going to walk out of your house.' Even among the simple people, this way of thinking is common. She might say, 'Here are your shirts and underwear. I'm going with Vanka. His hair is curlier than yours. Just talk to them and you'll hear it.' But the first rule for a wife should be fear." The clerk looked at the lawyer, the lady, and me, trying not to laugh. He was ready to either make fun of or agree with the old man depending on what the others did. "What fear?" asked the lady. "This fear, the wife should fear her husband. That's what I mean by fear." "Oh, that idea is over, old man," she said. "No, madam, that can never be over. Just like Eve was made from Adam's ribs, woman will always be that way," the old man said, shaking his head with confidence. The clerk, thinking the old man had won, laughed loudly. "Yes, you men think that way," the lady replied, not giving up. She looked at us again. "You allow yourselves to be free, but you want to keep women locked up. For you, anything is allowed. Isn't that right? Oh, men, that's different. So, According to you, men can do whatever they want? No one says they can do everything. But if a man behaves badly outside the home, the family doesn't suffer. But a woman, the wife, is delicate, said the merchant strictly. His serious tone made everyone quiet. Even the lady felt a bit defeated, but she didn't give in. Yes, but you agree that a woman is a person like her husband, right? What should she do if she doesn't love him? If she doesn't love him, the old man shouted angrily, frowning. She will be made to love him. This unexpected answer made the clerk happy, and he made a sound to show he agreed. No, she won't be forced to love, the lady said. You can't make someone love if they don't feel it. And if the wife cheats on her husband, what should happen? Asked the lawyer. That should never happen, said the old man. He should watch her carefully. But what if it does happen anyway? You must admit it does happen. It happens among the rich, not us, the old man replied. And if a husband is so foolish that he can't control his wife, then it's his fault. But still, there should be no scandal. Whether there is love or not, the home should not be disturbed. Every husband has the power to manage his wife. Only a fool can't do that. Everyone was silent. The clerk moved closer, not wanting to be left out of the conversation, and said with his usual smile, Yes, in the house where I work, a scandal happened. It's hard to understand. The wife liked to have fun and started behaving badly. Her husband is a smart and serious man. First, it was with the bookkeeper. The husband tried to be kind to her and bring her back to normal. She didn't change. She got worse. She even started stealing his money. He beat her, but it didn't help. She began going to different men, even ones who weren't Christian. What could the husband do? He left her, and now he lives alone. She's now living a very bad life. He's a fool, said the old man. If he had controlled her from the beginning, she would still be living properly. You must take away her freedom right away. Don't trust your horse on the road, and don't trust your wife at home. At that moment, the conductor came by, asking for tickets for the next station. The old man gave his ticket. Yes, you must control women early, or everything will fall apart. And at Cunavino, didn't you enjoy yourself with the pretty girls? Asked the lawyer with a smile. Oh, that's a different matter, said the merchant seriously. Goodbye, he added as he stood up. He wrapped his cloak around himself, put on his cap, picked up his bag, and left the train car.